No words can describe this iconic structure. It is the king of bridges. In fact, even now, on the whole rail network in Britain, every bridge and every structure is numbered, except for this one, except for the Fourth Rail Bridge, which is called simply the bridge. My grandfather, as a youngster, would row out in a boat to watch the building of this masterpiece, Britain's first major structure in steel. The bridge took 7 years to construct and was completed in 1890. It feels as exciting today, I think, as when I was a child. It's still the most incredible thing. Of course, now I've been able to see it from underneath, from a distance. I've seen many photographs of it. I know something about the history. I know how many people died building it. All of these things simply make me more impressed by this amazing structure. You cross the bridge by train in a couple of minutes, and that's maybe not the best way to appreciate the scale of this structure. But down here, you see its iconic 3 diamonds. This bridge is completely unique. Show a photograph of this bridge to anyone on the face of the planet, and they would know that this was the one and only, the Fourth Rail Bridge. George Bradshaw didn't live to see it built. Talking about North Queensferry, where I am now, he says, in the neighbourhood of Queensferry, by the sudden approximation of opposite promontories, the Forth River is forced into a narrow strait. And then he talks about the winding bays and lofty shores bordering a fine sheet of water, a noble river, a broad sea. It must have been difficult for George Bradshaw to imagine that this broad sea would soon be traversed by a mighty structure. Over 100 trains thunder across the bridge every day. And although modern trains create less stress on the bridge than Victorian steam locomotives, it still requires constant maintenance. Morning, Ian.
Good morning.
Wow, you have a privileged job. You're responsible for the bridge.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here too. It's a wonderful bridge.
Project manager Ian Heath is in charge of repairing and repainting the bridge and is taking me aloft. Okay, lead on, please.
Here we come.
When we get out of this lift, where will we be?
We will be 367 feet above water level.
We'll be on top of one of the diamond shapes, will we?
Exactly. We call it a tower. In the centre of each diamond there's a tower, and we're at the very top of one of those.
That's very, very thrilling. That's fantastic. That is absolutely magnificent. It gives you an idea of the scale, the complexity, the height, and actually the beauty. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is. It's a surprisingly lovely thing.
55,000 tons of steel were used to build the bridge. It was bolted together in sections using over 8 million rivets, and it's massively stronger than it needs to be. Just a basic question, why has this bridge always been rusty red coloured?
It probably goes back to the fact that we use red lead paint. Principally red was the colour of red lead paint back in the days. We have maintained that colour throughout the history of the bridge.
And now you're doing some pretty major works. What is it you're doing?
We are. For the first time we're actually blasting all the old paint off. It's never been blasted before. Returning it to a bare metal, shiny white metal finish, onto which you apply the new coating system. And that new coating system has got a much longer lifespan than any of the old simple paints. Going to last 25, 30, we think even up to 40 years, this paint system.
Really? So that means that the old adage about you never stop painting the Fourth Rail Bridge, that's going to become a thing of the past, is it?
In essence, it probably is.
Working on this bridge, has it given you a great admiration for the Victorians who built it?
Oh, totally, absolutely. The Victorians were a special breed, no question at all. The engineers had vision unlike any others, and certainly the workforce knew no fear. They went at work very, very well.
And sadly, quite a lot of them lost their lives.
You read some 75 people died during the construction of the bridge. Thankfully today we have none of that, and we've got a very, very good safety record indeed on site.
It's been so exciting to realise a lifelong ambition and look down from the summit of the bridge. It ranks as one of the greatest engineering feats of our history. In the early 19th century, my next stop was just a quiet fishing town until the railways arrived. As Bradshaw says, the opening of the South Eastern Railway and the establishment of a line of packets between this port and Boulogne has been the means of rescuing Folkestone from its previous obscurity. But the creation of this line, with those 4 long tunnels cut into the chalk, did more than transform Folkestone. It inspired a daring and ambitious project to dig a tunnel all the way to France. Hello, Paul.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm meeting countryside ranger Paul Holt to hear the story.
The very first real attempt was in 1880, just the other side of Abbott's Cliff, and they sunk a vertical shaft down and cut parallel to the shore through the cliff but above the high water mark, and that worked very well. They're very pleased with the boring machine. Then in 1881 they actually moved all the workings to this, what was the Great Fall, that bit of land at the bottom of the cliff. Again, they sunk a vertical shaft down. They cut out towards the tip of the Admiralty Pier on the edge of Dover. So yeah, so 1881 was the next kind of big major attempt.
And building the tunnels must have been just a huge logistical problem. They must have massive teams of people here.
I would think so. The numbers must have been huge. I mean, if they were doing it by hand, I mean, there's no other way around than having lots of people working on it.
How far did these channel tunnellers get in 1882?
They got 897 yards, which is just over half a mile out. So pretty good, really.
Worry that the French might use the tunnel to invade caused the plans to be abandoned in the following year, 1882. So when was the next attempt to build a channel tunnel?
In the early 1970s, 70 to kind of 73, 74, they sunk an adit down and they cut out towards France, basically. So yeah, it was another hive of industrial activity on this little bit of cliff.
The second attempt had barely got a mile before it too was given up. It took 113 years, but that Victorian vision was finally realised in 1994 when the Channel Tunnel opened for business. The Channel Tunnel. When I was a junior minister, I helped put through the legislation that made it all possible. Very complicated, the engineering, the customs, the immigration, the passport control, the policing, the fire services, and here it is, it's all up and working. John Keith works for Eurotunnel. John?
Michael.
You're going to be my guide to this today. I came down here when it was being built, but I haven't been in the tunnel except as a passenger since. It's rather exciting for me.
Well, hopefully it's going to be very exciting, because instead of putting you on one of the trains and going through as most of the passengers do, we're going to take a car and actually drive into the Channel Tunnel.
Drive through. Sounds good. Before entering the tunnels, we must spend a few moments in a safety airlock.
This is the airlock that leads into the service tunnel. The reason it's there is because the service tunnel serves as sort of a safety lifeboat for the Channel Tunnel, and it means that we can manage evacuations from trains in complete safety and through clean air.
We're so used to thinking of the Channel Tunnel as a rail tunnel, it has never occurred to me that there is actually one little bit of it where you can drive from England to France.
Absolutely.
John's taking me far into the tunnel to see the traces of those first Victorian efforts. So where have we got to?
Well, this section here is the 1882 tunnel crossing the 1974 workings. So the 1974 workings actually follow the line of the current tunnel, but in 1882 they were digging test tunnels out towards Dover Harbour Wall from Samphire Hoe, and this is where the two tunnels intersect. So if you look up here on the wall, the segments actually still have the date clearly visible, 1974.
I had not realised that they'd made so much progress in 74.
They came a long way.
And so you've not had to replace this 1974 working?
No, this is as it was. We haven't touched it. It's a little piece of history inside the history that's the Channel Tunnel.
And if I were to remove these, a dangerous thing to do, but I would be able to peer into the 1882 tunnel, would I?
Yes.
That's quite moving, actually, isn't it? Because we are in one of the engineering wonders of the world now, but 115 years before this tunnel opened, they've been down here digging with their Victorian technology.
Yeah. And they were right as well, because they were going through the layer of chalk that every successive attempt has been through.
Despite all the technological advances since those Victorian pioneers, it eventually took 8 years to complete the 30-mile stretch of tunnel to France. I should say, by the way, that I bear some of the scars of trying to get this legislation through Parliament. How do you think the people of Kent and the people of England have settled down now to the Channel Tunnel?
I think it's always interesting to look back at those reactions. The fact that the British didn't want it, to today's situation where 85 to 90% of our customers are British, from the southeast of England, from the Midlands, from as far north as Scotland, it is absolutely unique. It's massive, yet it's invisible, and it is, honestly, one of the wonders of our modern days.
A renaissance in rail.
We hope so.
Using my Bradshaw's guide, I'm often impressed by the engineers of his day. But still, it astonishes me that they began work on a Channel tunnel and were beaten back by strategic military considerations more than by geology. In Bradshaw's day, Shropshire was one of the most important sites of nascent industrial activity and the birthplace of technologies that led to the first modern railways.
How you doing? You all right, guys?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Very nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm very well, yourself?
Yeah, lovely day for travelling, isn't it?
Gorgeous.
We're going to visit the Iron Bridge.
Oh, it's very nice.
It's rather important for railwaymen to know about the Iron Bridge, isn't it? Because I mean, it's the precursor to all the engineering that made the railways possible.
Oh, it is, yeah. You know, and it's fantastic. I mean, the structure itself of the bridge is just for its time. It's just, you can't imagine it that they would have been able to produce something as fantastic as that.
Our next call will be Telford Central High School.
I'm getting off at Telford and moving a few miles on to the village of Colebrook Dale to understand why the bridge creates such excitement. In Bradshaw's day, Colebrook Dale was already noted for its role in the development of the iron industry. Bradshaw writes, "Several important processes in the manufacture of iron have originated here. About 1768, iron rails were laid down on the tramways. In 1779, the first iron bridge was made. This still stands in substantial repair at a point where it crosses the Severn with a single arch." The Iron Bridge, as beautiful as it is historic, is a famous symbol of industrial progress. I've come to see John Challen, who works at the Iron Bridge Museum. John, hello.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I must say I'm very excited to be on this bridge. It's
You should
wonderful. No, because I know its historic significance is enormous. And I mean, Colebrookdale obviously was well established as a place where iron was made. Bradshaw says that there was nowhere like it, that for producing and mass producing artefacts in iron, this was the place.
It's where it all started. Abraham Darby came here to make iron, to make cooking pots, but the technology he bought, which was smelting iron with coke and casting iron into sand moulds, he did it in just the right place.
Until the 18th century, charcoal was used to smelt iron. Because it used so much wood, iron could be made only in small amounts. Then Abraham Darby substituted coke from the local coalfields, inventing a technique that's been used ever since. It meant that cast iron could be made cheaply and in huge quantities.
The company quickly went on from making cast iron cooking pots to the first iron wheels, the first iron cylinders for steam engines, and of course the bridge itself. And they even went on to build the world's first steam locomotive in 1802.
What gave them the confidence to make a bridge out of iron?
And they were pushing it, they knew they could cast almost anything out of iron. You've got to make a mould and you can do it. And this was a real showpiece.
Is it true that Coalbrookdale makes some claim to having the first iron rails?
Yeah.
What year are they then?
1760s.
It's just so long before passenger railways, isn't it? These first cast iron rails, used for horse-drawn wagons in mines and quarries, were the forerunner to modern railways. And the techniques used in the iron bridge were copied for some of the earliest railway bridges. What strikes me about the bridge as a first iron bridge is how beautiful it is. In other words, that they not only got the engineering right first time, but they got the style, the aesthetics of it right first time. That's amazing.
Well, it is, and on the other hand, though, it shows how far they've got to be casting, because a stone bridge is a stone bridge. With an iron bridge, you had a lot more freedom in design. All those components were cast off site to a design and then brought to site and assembled, and it's like a giant kit of parts.
If this technology hadn't been mastered, the whole history of railway building afterwards would have been completely different.
Before coke smelting, iron was a very expensive material. It was just used for fixings and nails and tools. To have so much iron that you can use it as a construction material was a completely different way. So you just think of the sheer tonnage of iron in a railway. You couldn't have done that without coke smelting.
The technology progressed rapidly. Rails made of cast iron were soon replaced by wrought iron, and by the 1860s, all railway tracks were made from steel. But the first iron bridge in the world still draws admiration. Hello.
Hello.
It's really terrific, isn't it, the new service?
Yeah.
Have you been on it before?
Oh yeah, you won't believe this, I was the first ever person to go on the new line from Shoreditch High Street to New Cross Gate and to Dalston Junction and back to Shoreditch.
You were the first ever person?
Yeah, on the 15th of April.
You wrote in, did you? Or were you telephoned? Or
I emailed in this message.
Really?
Yeah.
What's so special about the East London line?
What's special is the Thames Tunnel between Wapping and Rotherhithe stations,
Because...
built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Well, we'll be arriving at Rotherhithe soon. That's where the tunnel begins, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting off, and I'm going to have a close look at that tunnel myself.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm getting off at Rotherhithe, where the new line follows the original Victorian route and takes advantage of one of the 19th century's most daring achievements. So it's London's newest railway service, but it passes through a tunnel familiar to Bradshaw. The tunnel from Wapping to Rotherhithe was commenced in 1825 and opened in 1843 by the projector and engineer Sir I.K. Brunel. Then he gives all its dimensions and he says it's a double archway brilliantly lighted with gas and open each day and night at a toll of 1 penny for each passenger. This tunnel wasn't built for a railway, it was built for pedestrians, and I'm going to take a walk through it. From 1 a.m. the line is closed, and I'm assured it will be safe to walk along it. I'm meeting Robert Hulse from the Brunel Museum, a keen admirer of this tunnel.
Hello.
Here we are in the middle of the night. We hope all the trains have stopped and we can go into the tunnel. It's quite a special tunnel, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's the first tunnel under a river anywhere in the world, and it's the first project that Isambard Kingdom Brunel worked on.
So, I mean, in a way, it's also the origins of underground railways.
Yes, this is an international landmark site because it's the birthplace of the tube, not just for London, but for everywhere.
This 365-metre tunnel was originally built as a fast way to transport cargo across the river. It was engineered by Mark Brunel and the work was supervised by his son, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. For the first time, they would bore beneath water at enormous risk and in appalling conditions. Was machinery used to build this in any way?
No, it's dug by hand. It's dug by men working in cages with short-handle spades, showered with Thames water. In 1825, when the Thames was the biggest open sewer in the world, it just really doesn't bear thinking about what was showering down on these poor unfortunates as they toiled under the river.
It took thousands of men working by oil lamp to construct the tunnel. Officially, 6 people were killed building it, but that doesn't include others who died from cholera and TB. It was a lethal enterprise.
It began just here. Now imagine this as a cage, 36 tiny cages, a row of 12 along the top.
Each one of those has a man in it.
Each one of those has a man in it.
And the method of building obviously had to be original. It had never been done before.
That's right. This is Mark Brunel's patented method, and modern tunnelling machines are based on this principle.
Men dug out the earth 4 inches at a time. Then the exposed flanks were quickly lined with bricks. But after 18 years, there was no money to build cargo ramps, so the tunnel was open to pedestrians instead, at the cost of 1 penny.
In the first 15 weeks, there were 1 million visitors, but that's only 1 million pennies. And the tunnel was conceived as a cargo tunnel that would have got tolls from the shipping agencies. So they have pennies. They're a huge success as a visitor attraction, but they have no revenue, so to speak. So they built the world's first underwater shopping arcade to try and make some money. And each of these little archways was a shop. And there's just room for you and a barrow and a table of souvenirs. They sold items like this. They sold Thames Tunnel gin flasks, Thames Tunnel pin cushions, Thames Tunnel snuff boxes, Thames Tunnel coffee cups. If they'd had baseball caps, they'd have sold those. People came here in the millions, but not everyone had the courage to walk under the river. And some people walked under the river very, very briskly and broke into a run about this point, which is halfway, where most people's resolve fails them.
I have some sympathy with that.
Sadly, what opened as a shining avenue of light under the River Thames to Wapping became, by degrees, a little less shiny and a little less respectable.
Oh.
Yes.
It became a bit seedy, did it?
It did. It became a haunt of thieves, cut purses, and what the books demurely describe as women know better than they should be. In fact, there were all kinds of transactions conducted under the River Thames in these dark spaces.
And so at that point, it was ready to become a railway tunnel.
Yes, in 1865, they sold the tunnel to the railway.
The tunnel became part of the growing rail system and is now the centrepiece of London's newest train service. I still don't like touching that electric rail,
I think
even if it is off.
Healthy respect.
Yeah.